Hi, well, are you thinking about retirement? Is it on your radar? Is it something you're planning? Or has it crept up on you unexpectedly? Well, stay tuned because I've got 10 top tips to share with you before retirement. Welcome to Grey Matters. Hello and welcome to Grey Matters, the channel that promotes the fact that the older generation still matters and looks at issues that matter to the older generation. Now, is retirement on your radar at the moment? Is it something you're planning on doing, you're thinking of doing, or is it enforced on you? Is it through an ill health? Have you got an ill health pension coming? Is it because of age? Is it company policy? Is it something you're looking forward to? Or something you're dreading, or maybe a mix between the two? Well, I've got a few tips here, gleaned from not just my retirement, but from retirement of other people's, okay? So let's dive straight into it, in no particular order, okay? There's not from best to worst or worst to best. These are just some good tips for you to bear in mind, okay? So let's go. Don't fret. I know it's easy to say, but worrying about something that hasn't happened, it doesn't do you any good at all. And I know most people, when they do fret and worry about it, it's based on two things. One is finances, and the other is what are they going to do once they've retired? Now, ask anyone who's retired, and they will tell you that they're busier than ever before. They have less hours in the day. The days fly past, and that's all very true. And there's one reason for that, I think. One main reason is that when you're working, you cram all the odd jobs and all the work you've got to do around the house into the weekends, and then you're back to your 9-to-5 job after that. When you've retired, those jobs in the weekend spread out across the whole week. You do a little bit here, a little bit there. You add in, there's time for the projects you've always wanted to do. So it seems as if your days are full, and they are, but not necessarily with more work, okay? But it does give you opportunities to do more if you so wish. Money, you will be surprised. One of the big fears is that this potentially sudden drop in income is going to cause a lot of aggravation for you and a lot of stress and a lot of worry. The truth is, you will be surprised by how much money you're spending going to work. I've said this in a previous video, I know, but we actually put savings away after my first month out of employment. Because I wasn't travelling to work, I wasn't spending money on petrol, on lunches, on clothes even to go to work. We had savings for the first time, I think probably since we've been married. So don't fret too much about it. But there are some things you can do to make the transition easier, and we'll come on to that shortly. Speak to other people who have retired. You must have friends who have retired or members of the family. They will all have different stories to tell, so speak to them. Find out what happened for them. Is anyone retiring under the same circumstances as you? If you're having to retire through ill health, you may be getting an enhanced pension because of ill health. Depends on the type of employment you're in. Speak to friends who have been through that process. Ask them what they worried about. Ask them if their fears were realised. If they were, what did they do to overcome those situations? People who have retired are the best people to speak to, not people who haven't retired, who are very keen and happy to offer advice. And that includes so-called professional firms and so on. And that's where I come on to point number. Be careful of financial planners. Now, independent financial planners, all very well and good, but they are in it to make a profit. That's the whole idea. They get commissions, or if you're dealing direct with an investment company, They're going to make money out of you. Now, my example I can give you is that I was not going to commute any of my pension into a lump sum. I had to retire on a 25-year pension. So I wanted to keep as much of that money coming in each month as I could without risking any investments. But the company had their own suggested financial advisors. So the guy came, he sat in my house for 4 hours explaining how I could put money in a short-term pot, a mid-term pot and a long-term pot. And they would yield this, that and the other. We went through it in quite a bit of depth. And he said the minimum amount I would need to put in there was 25 grand. It sounded very good. So we decided, okay, we would. So I commuted 25 grand of my pension into cash. The problem is once you've commuted that money and it's out, you can't put it back in the pot. And when the actual finished and final portfolio arrived, I found that they were taking about £400 a year, which was my entire profit from the short term for several years. So I would see nothing for quite a few years. And then they'll be taking administration fees of that level forever out of whatever I get. Absolutely no way. That wasn't explained to me at the time. So we spent the money instead on double glazing and doing the house up and a holiday and that sort of thing. There's no way I was going to give the money over. So do your research. When you're dealing with financial planners, make sure you know exactly what you're in for. Don't just take, oh, you're going to get this and you'll get that and this is the profit you'll get from that. Find out exactly what their charges are going to be, how much money you're going to lose to them each year, and don't let them waft you off with just, oh, don't worry about it, and don't let them deal in percentages. Percentages mean nothing. You want figures. Okay. Tip number 4 is about your income. You're going to be on a reduced income, we know that. So before you retire, try and work out what you can actually do without. One of the things we gave up was Sky TV. It was a fairly hefty subscription and we weren't really watching it that much. So we did away with that. Good luck with that, by the way, because they will plague you to try and get you to sign up again. Just stay firm. Can you do without BBC? You could save yourself the cost of the license fee, and I know a lot of people are doing that now. Most of your TV watching's on streaming services such as Netflix and Prime Video and Apple TV and those sort of things, you don't need a license. The only reason you need a TV license is if you watch live broadcast TV or use iPlayer. So you can't do either of those things. And again, be careful because Prime TV, for example, has got live sports on there. ITV Hub, More4 have got a little menu item where you can watch live TV. You can't do that at all without a TV license. Look at your car, obviously. Do you need the big car you've got, the gas guzzler? Maybe think about downsizing and going for a car that's more economical to run. There are quite a few things you may find you can do without. So tick through your standing orders, your direct debits, see what you're paying for that maybe you don't need after all. I think you'll be quite surprised. We save quite a bit of money by going through that exercise. Before you retire, get a full health screening. What you don't want to do is go into retirement and then find that it's been thrown into flux because you've got maybe a major health issue. Get that all done while you're at work. It's much better to go into retirement knowing that you're full and fit and healthy. Plus, if you get a full health screening while you're at work and it turns out you do have some serious issues, then you've got additional backup, maybe with an ill health pension, maybe with various other benefits you can get through work. There might even be a private health plan through your company. So do that before you retire, okay? Again, while you're still at work, have a look at your appliances, your technology, your garden equipment, all the things that have a lifespan, and see if you need to replace or upgrade them. Do it while you're at work and you're earning. it's better than suddenly finding you've got a lot to spend out for after you've retired at a time when you're trying to work out how to live on a reduced income. And in spite of the fact you may well start having some savings, but do it while you're at work. It feels better to do that. And that's also for tip number 7. Get the odd jobs done around the house. Get all the maintenance work done. Get the plumbers in if you need them. Do the decorating. Do these things before you retire while you've still got that increased income coming in. And it just gives you more of a feeling of security to know that it's done before you retire. Of course, you may prefer to think, well, actually, I'm going to do that after because it's going to give me a job to do. But of course, that's down to you. If you use travel insurance, you're going to have to start thinking about the future of your travelling, because when you hit retirement age, your premiums are going to start going up. It's a very unfair system. We know the liability and the risk gets greater for insurance companies the older you are, but the premiums can be totally out of proportion with the risks involved. If you can, get maybe a bank account that has built-in travel insurance. Now, we use Nationwide, and this isn't a paid promotion. We use Nationwide Flex Plus account. We get free mobile phone insurance, free roadside breakdown assistance, and free travel insurance. And the travel insurance lasts for the whole family that's living with you, multi-trip, worldwide, until you are 69. And when you reach 69, you have to buy an age extension. And that's 65 quid. So 65 quid for an annual multi-trip policy, pretty good value. Even if, if it's not free anymore, 65 quid is pretty good. If you have health issues, if you've got medical history, you will need to tell them. You need to tell them anyway while it's free. But when you get the age extension, they will then give you the option of saying, right, we will cover that issue under your insurance policy, but it's going to cost you X amount. I was quoted, I think, about £200. Again, for an annual multi-trip policy, when you're getting on a bit, £200 is pretty good value. Some people with other independent insurance companies can pay £700-800, maybe even to 4 figures for a multi-trip policy. So you've got that choice of paying that £200, or you can say, no, don't worry about it. Just exclude those medical conditions and I'll stick to pay my £65. You need to consider with that, though, what are the likelihoods of you needing repatriation through any of your medical conditions. And if there's the slightest possibility you might, then you should have it included in the policy, because you won't be able to afford, very unlikely, you'll be able to afford the cost of repatriation if you're unwell while you're abroad. Look for cashbacks. Look at the cashback websites, credit cards, debit cards and so on. Any way that you can get a cashback, take advantage of it, because every penny counts really. The less income you have, the more you've got to make it work for you. Look at your energy supplier. Can you get a better deal elsewhere? Can you get a cashback with your energy supplier? And does your energy supplier offer you a cash reward or a credit to your account for every new customer you introduce? Take advantage of all these things, because you may need it. So do take advantage, okay? And finally, number 10, might sound daft, but get a bus pass as soon as you can. It's not just for using the travel, which, although for local routes, it's great. Just hop on the bus, don't have to pay. But it's a useful form of ID. If you don't want to start throwing your driving licence around for people to see, you can use your bus pass. It's photo ID as well. But you can travel the entire length and breadth of the United Kingdom on a bus pass. As long as you're sticking to the local routes, you can have some amazing trips and holidays for no cost of the travel at all. So keep that in mind. It might sound daft, but seriously, it's worth doing. So that's it. Top 10 tips before retirement. If you've got any tips of your own, if you've heard of any advice from other people who have retired, stick them in the comments down below. We'd love to hear your tips. I'm sure all the other viewers would as well. And in the meantime, thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Grey Matters. Bye for now.